The crystal champagne flute trembled slightly in my hand as I watched my sister Grace float across the stage in her designer gown. My father's proud smile gleamed under the spotlights as he handed her the engraved plaque, Director of the Gross Foundation. The role I had spent 15 years earning, delivered to her like a birthday present. My name is Kimberly, and I've always been the invisible daughter, the one who actually runs things while others take the credit. Tonight was supposed to be different. And now, a few words from our new director, my father announced, his voice carrying through the grand ballroom. 300 of New York's elite donors shifted in their chairs, pearls glinting, bow ties perfectly straight. I took another sip of champagne, remembering last month's conversation in his office. The board has concerns about your presence, Kimberly. You understand, don't you? Grace has such natural charisma. The foundation needs a face people want to follow. Grace tapped the microphone, giggling. Oh, wow, this is just so amazing. I promise to uphold our family's legacy of giving back. We have so many exciting initiatives planned. Initiatives I had researched, structured, and documented in detailed proposals she'd never read. My fingers clenched around the stem of my glass. Kimberly, darling! My mother appeared beside me, dripping in diamonds. Isn't your sister magnificent? And that speech, so natural, so moving. Absolutely stunning, I replied, my voice steady. Years of practice. If you'll excuse me, I need some air. I slipped out through the service entrance, my heels clicking against marble. The dark hallway felt like a refuge after the glittering chaos inside. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a number I'd saved months ago, but never dared to call. Until now. Alan Rose, a gruff voice answered on the third ring. Mr. Rose? This is Kimberly Gross. My heart pounded, but my voice remained calm. You once asked me about irregularities in nonprofit governance. I'm ready to tell you a story. Why now? He sounded skeptical, cautious, because tonight they made a mistake. They thought making me invisible meant I couldn't see them. I opened my clutch, removing a small USB drive. I have 15 years of documentation, grant logs, asset valuations, board meeting minutes. Things that don't add up. That's a serious offer, Ms. Gross. Why should I trust you? Through the hallway door, I could hear Grace laughing, my father's booming voice announcing another toast, my mother's tinkling social laugh. Because Mr. Rose, I'm the backbone they never saw, the one who knows where every dollar goes, which hands it, passes through, and what strings are attached. Check your email in 5 minutes. Consider it a sample. I ended the call and pulled out my laptop, hidden earlier behind a potted plant. My fingers flew across the keys, uploading the first batch of files. Nothing too damaging, yet. Just enough to prove I wasn't bluffing. The door burst open. I snapped the laptop shut as Grace stumbled out, champagne sloshing in her glass. Kim, what are you doing hiding out here? Daddy's looking for you. He wants a family photo for the press. I stood, smoothing my simple black dress. Of course he does. Can't have anyone wondering why one daughter is missing. Don't be dramatic, Grace rolled her eyes. Just because you're jealous. I'm not jealous, Grace. I'm awake. I walked past her, pausing in the doorway. Congratulations on your new role. I hope you're ready for everything it entails. Back in the ballroom, I took my place beside my beaming family. The photographer counted down. My father's hand gripped my shoulder, a warning, a reminder of my place. I smiled perfectly for the camera, already imagining how this photo would look splashed across the headlines that would eventually destroy us all. The flash went off. In my pocket, my phone vibrated with an email notification from Alan Rose. I'm interested. Let's talk. Game on. You've been here since dawn again, Dominic said, leaning against my office doorframe. The cleaning crew is starting to think you live here. I barely glanced up from my computer screen. Someone has to review these grant applications. Grace hasn't touched them in 3 weeks. The morning sun filtered through the foundation's glass tower, casting long shadows across my desk. 15 years of mornings like this one, arriving before anyone else, leaving long after dark. I clicked through another poorly written proposal, adding it to the rejection pile. "Remember that New Year's party?" Dominic asked, settling into the chair across from me. "When Mark from legal proposed to you, and I turned him down because Dad needed me to fix the year-end reports?" I allowed myself a small smile. "Mark married a yoga instructor and moved to California. Last I heard, they have 3 kids. You gave up a lot for this place." I met his eyes. "We all did." My phone buzzed. A text from Alan Rose. "Story's ready. Dropping tomorrow morning. Last chance to back out." I typed back, "Do it." Dominic was still watching me. "The board meeting's in an hour. Grace hasn't prepared anything." "Of course not." I pulled out a folder I'd prepared weeks ago. "Here's the quarterly presentation. Make sure she gets it." "You're still helping her? After everything?" Before I could answer, Grace burst into my office, designer heels clacking against hardwood. "Kim, thank God you're here. I need the donor report for the Children's Library Initiative." "The one due last week?" I kept my voice neutral. "The one I reminded you about 3 times?" "Please," she pouted. "Daddy's going to kill me if I show up empty-handed again." I reached into my drawer and pulled out another folder. "Here, try to read it before presenting this time." She snatched it, already turning to leave. "You're the best. This is why you're so good at the behind-the-scenes stuff." The door clicked shut behind her. Dominic whistled low. "That's cold, even for Grace." "Check your phone in about 20 minutes, I said, turning back to my computer. "The Financial Times blog should be interesting today." Right on schedule, my phone exploded with notifications. A small financial blog had published a leaked invoice showing suspicious payments from our foundation to a shell company. Nothing major, just enough to make people ask questions. Grace burst back in, face pale. "Did you see this?" "Who would leak something like that?" "Probably someone who actually reads financial statements," I replied, not looking up. "Maybe you should start." "This isn't funny, Kim. The board is already breathing down my neck. You have to help me fix this." Finally, I met her desperate gaze. "Like I've been fixing things for you since we were kids? Like when I wrote your college essays? Or covered for you when you crashed Dad's car? Or maybe like last month, when I quietly handled that personal medical expense that would have ruined your perfect image?" She stepped back like I'd slapped her. You know about that?" "I know everything, Grace. That's what being invisible gets you. People forget you're watching." My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. "You're not the only one with secrets. Meet me. D." Grace was still standing there, mascara starting to smear. What am I supposed to do? For a moment, I saw my little sister again, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, the one I'd protected for so long. But then I remembered the gala, remembered 15 years of being pushed aside, remembered every dismissive comment and stolen opportunity. "You're the director now," I said, turning back to my work. "Figure it out." She fled the office in tears. Dominic stood to leave, too, pausing at the door. "Whatever you're doing, Kim, be careful. There are bigger secrets than Grace's mistakes." I waited until he was gone before opening my email. Alan had sent the draft of tomorrow's story. The headline made me smile. "Questions arise about prestigious foundation's financial practices." It was just the beginning. Soon they'd all understand. The quiet ones see everything. And we remember. My phone buzzed again. The unknown number. Tomorrow. Noon. Carter's coffee shop. "Come alone." I typed back one word. Agreed. Carter's coffee shop buzzed with the usual lunch crowd, but Dominic sat alone in the back corner, his usual crisp appearance notably rumpled. He didn't look up when I slid into the seat across from him. "You're playing a dangerous game," he said, stirring his untouched coffee. "Those offshore accounts you're digging into, they go deeper than you know." "I haven't touched any offshore accounts." He finally met my eyes. "Exactly. Because you don't know about them. But someone does, and they're using your leak as cover to expose everything." A waitress approached. I ordered black coffee, waiting until she left before continuing. "Tell me." Dominic pulled out a manila envelope, sliding it across the table. "Your father has been running money through shell nonprofits for years. Both you and Grace are listed as directors on paper, but the signatures—" He tapped the documents. "They're forged." My hands trembled slightly as I opened the envelope. There it was, my signature on documents I'd never seen, dating back 5 years. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because when this breaks, and it will break, you'll be implicated too. Unless—" He leaned forward. "Unless you have proof you were just another victim." The waitress returned with my coffee. I took a slow sip, buying time to think. "What kind of proof?" "Grace has been covering up more than just her little medical scandal. She's been signing off on misused donations, faking program results. I have files. And you're just now deciding to share this out of the goodness of your heart?" Dominic's laugh was bitter. "I'm sharing because I need protection. Your father's going down, and he'll try to take everyone with him. I want immunity when the FBI starts asking questions." My phone buzzed. A text from Alan. "Major charity partner pulling out. Statement coming in an hour. This connected to you?" "No," I typed back, "but keep watching." Dominic was still talking. "Grace had her assistant, Lexi, falsify reports to donors. The girl kept copies of everything. Smart kid. Scared, but smart. Does Grace know?" "Grace doesn't know what day it is without an assistant telling her." He pulled out more papers. "But here's what will interest you. Remember that abortion scandal you helped cover up? There's more to that story." I froze. "What do you mean?" "The payment wasn't just for medical expenses. It was hush money. The father was a major donor's son. If that gets out—" "Our reputation would be destroyed," I finished. "The perfect Princess Grace, pregnant by a donor's son, using foundation money to hide it. Now you're getting it." Dominic stood, dropping a few bills for his coffee. "I've given you enough to start. Use it wisely." "Why didn't you come to me sooner?" He paused, adjusting his tie. "Because until now you were just the good daughter, the reliable one. Now you're dangerous. And I bet on dangerous over good every time." After he left, I sat there studying the documents. My phone buzzed again. Grace calling. I let it go to voicemail. Another text came through, this time from an unknown number. "Miss Kimberly, this is Lexi, Grace's assistant. We need to talk. I have something you should see." I was typing a response when my mother's name flashed across the screen. Unlike Grace's call, I answered this one. "Have you seen what they're saying about us?" she hissed. "Your father is furious. Grace is having a meltdown. Where are you?" "Working, Mother. Someone has to keep the foundation running while Grace handles her public relations issues." "Don't be snide. This is serious. We need you to help fix this." I looked at the documents spread before me, thinking of all the years they'd used me to fix things. "I'll be there soon, Mother. Tell Dad to gather the board. I think it's time for a family meeting." I hung up before she could respond, then texted Lexi back. "Tomorrow morning, my office, 7 a.m. Come ready to talk." The pieces were falling into place faster than I'd planned. But as I gathered the documents, I realized something that should have terrified me actually felt liberating. I was past the point of no return. Good. Let it all burn. Lexi arrived at my office exactly at 7 a.m., clutching an oversized handbag like a shield. Her hand shook as she pulled out a thick folder. "Grace made me do things," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Illegal things. I kept copies of everything because I was scared." "Smart girl." I gestured to the chair across from my desk. "Show me." She spread out documents across my desk. Forged donor reports, manipulated program outcomes, emails ordering her to adjust the numbers. Last week, she made me backdate grant applications. When I questioned it, she threatened to blacklist me from every nonprofit in New York. "Typical Grace," I muttered, photographing each document with my phone. Always the bully when cameras aren't rolling. My office door burst open. Grace stood there, mascara smeared, holding her phone like a weapon. "What the hell is this?" She thrust the screen at me. Another news article, this one detailing suspicious patterns in our grant distributions. She spotted Lexi and her scattered documents. Her face contorted. "You little snake! What are you doing in my sister's office?" "Grace," I said calmly, standing. "Lower your voice." "Lower my voice?" "The board is calling for an emergency meeting. Our biggest donor just publicly denounced us, and you're having secret meetings with my assistant." "Your former assistant," Lexi said quietly, straightening her spine. "I quit." Grace lunged forward, but I stepped between them. "Touch her, and I'll have security escort you out. Remember, you're on thin ice with the board already." "You!" Grace's eyes narrowed. "This is all you, isn't it?" "You're behind everything." "You did this to yourself," I replied. "I just stopped covering for you. I'm your sister, and I'm the one you stepped on to get to the top. Karma's funny that way." My phone buzzed. A text from Alan. "Ready to go with everything. Sure you want the full story out?" Grace saw the message preview. Her face crumpled. "Kim, please. I'm drowning here. Help me fix this like you always do." For a moment, I hesitated. She looked so young, so scared. Then I remembered every dismissive comment, every stolen opportunity, every time they used me while treating me like I was nothing. "I can't fix this," I said, typing "send it to Alan," and I don't want to. Grace's phone chimed, then mine, then Lexi's. The story was breaking. Everything from the offshore accounts to the abortion cover-up to the years of financial manipulation. Alan had done his job well. "You bitch," Grace whispered, scrolling through the article. "You absolute bitch. Do you know what you've done?" "I know exactly what I've done." I sat back down at my desk, perfectly calm. "I've told the truth." She launched herself at me, but Lexi was faster, hitting the security button on my desk. 2 guards appeared almost instantly. "Ms. Grace isn't feeling well," I said smoothly. "Please escort her to her office." As they led my screaming sister away, Lexi turned to me. "What happens now?" "Now?" I pulled up my email, where urgent messages from the board were already flooding in. "Now we watch it burn." My phone rang. My father. I let it go to voicemail. Another call. My mother. Ignored. A text from Dominic. "FBI just arrived at the main office. Your father's being questioned." "You should go home," I told Lexi. "It's going to get ugly here." She gathered her things but paused at the door. "Why did you help me?" "Because you were like me once. The invisible one they thought they could use and discard. The difference is, you were smarter. You kept receipts." After she left, I opened my desk drawer and pulled out one last file. Evidence of my mother threatening a previous whistleblower years ago. I hadn't given this to Alan yet. Saving the best for last. My phone buzzed again. A message from Grace. "I hate you." "I'll never forgive you for this," I typed back. "I forgave you for years. Look where that got me." Then I picked up my phone and dialed Alan's number. "I have one more story for you," I said when he answered. "This one's about my mother." The foundation's boardroom felt like a funeral parlor. 12 grim faces stared at Grace as she tried to explain the unexplainable. I sat quietly in my usual corner, taking notes like always. "These allegations are—" "They're taken out of context," Grace stammered, her designer dress wrinkled from nervous fidgeting. "We've always operated with the highest ethical standards." "Save it," Barbara, the board chair, cut in. "We've seen the evidence. The FBI is investigating. Your father's being questioned as we speak. You need to take a leave of absence." Grace's face crumpled. "But I'm the director." "Not anymore." Barbara slid a paper across the table. "Sign this, or we'll make it very public." My phone vibrated. Another text from Alan. "Your mother's story just dropped. CNN picking it up." Right on cue, phones around the room started buzzing. I watched as the board members' expressions shifted from concern to horror as they read about how Anne, the beloved co-founder's wife, had threatened and blackmailed previous whistleblowers. "This is a witch hunt," Grace screamed, throwing the resignation letter across the room. "My family built this foundation." "And now your family has destroyed it," Barbara replied coldly. "Security will escort you out." As Grace was led away, she locked eyes with me. "You'll regret this," she mouthed. My phone rang. My father's private number. For the first time in weeks, I answered. "My office. Now." His voice was ice. I found him standing at his window, watching news vans gather below. He didn't turn when I entered. 15 years, he said quietly. 15 years I groomed you to be the backbone of this organization. You were perfect, smart, discreet, invisible, the perfect puppet master. He finally faced me. "So why did you cut your own strings?" "Because I was tired of being the puppet." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You think you've won? That you've finally proven yourself?" He pulled out a folder. "Remember the Martinez grant from 2018? My blood ran cold. The Martinez grant, my one major mistake. A rushed approval that ended up funding a political campaign instead of children's education. I'd buried it deep. You signed off on it," he continued. "You knew it was questionable, but you pushed it through anyway. If that comes out, you'll go down with us. You're blackmailing me? Now? I'm giving you a chance to save yourself. Call off the dogs. Tell your journalist friend you were wrong, or this folder goes to the FBI. I stepped closer, seeing the fear behind his bravado. Do it. Release it. Because while the Martinez grant was a mistake, it's nothing compared to what you've done. And now everyone knows. I made you. No, you used me. There's a difference." My phone buzzed. "Dominic, FBI wants to talk to you. As a witness, not a suspect. I told them you've been gathering evidence." "You're no longer my daughter," my father spat. "I stopped being your daughter the moment you chose Grace over me. I'm just the one who finally stopped pretending otherwise." Security appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Richard, the FBI agents would like to continue their questions." I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm. "You think you can walk away from this clean? That anyone will trust you after what you've done to your own family?" "Trust?" I laughed. "I don't want their trust. I want them to know that the quiet ones, the invisible ones, are the most dangerous. Because we see everything, and we never forget." I pulled free and walked out, passing FBI agents in the hallway. My phone buzzed again, a message from my mother. "How could you do this to us?" I typed back, "The same way you did it to me, one betrayal at a time." The elevator doors opened to reveal reporters crowding the lobby. They hadn't noticed me yet. I was still invisible to them. One last time, that invisibility would serve me well. I slipped out the service entrance where Alan waited in his car. Ready to tell your side? He asked as I got in. Ready to tell the truth, I corrected. Every last ugly bit of it. He started the engine. Where to? The FBI field office. I have some people to talk to. The Martinez grant wasn't a mistake, Agent Sarah Phillips said, sliding photos across the interview room table. It was a deliberate scheme orchestrated by your father. We have proof he pressured you to approve it. I stared at the emails I'd never seen before. Correspondence between my father and the grant recipients, dated weeks before I'd even reviewed the application. He set me up, I whispered. He created his own insurance policy against me. Smart man, Sarah nodded. Dirty, but smart. He made sure everyone had something to lose if they talked. My phone buzzed. Dominic again. They're raiding the offshore accounts. Your father's trying to move money. Grace is having a breakdown on social media. We want to offer you whistleblower protection, Sarah continued, but we need everything. No holding back. I thought of the remaining documents in my safe, the ones even Alan didn't know about. Everything has a price. What's yours? Full immunity. Public acknowledgement of your role in exposing the corruption. And, she smiled slightly, a chance to help us rebuild the foundation properly once this is over. My phone lit up with a call from Ellie, my old friend from the ethics department. I answered on speaker. Kim, turn on the news. Now. Sarah grabbed the remote, flicking on the small TV in the corner. There was my father being led out of his office in handcuffs. The crawler beneath read, Foundation chairman arrested. FBI alleges decades of fraud. That's not all, Ellie said. Your mother just went live on Instagram having some kind of meltdown. She's threatening to expose everyone's secrets. Let her, I replied. I'm done hiding. After hanging up, I turned back to Sarah. I need 15 minutes to make a call. She nodded, leaving me alone in the interview room. I dialed Alan's number. You seeing this? He answered. I need you to release my full statement, the one we prepared about the Martinez grant. All of it. You sure? Once it's out. My father already tried to use it against me. I'm taking away his leverage. Okay, he paused. Kim, after this, what's your endgame? The truth. All of it. No matter who it hurts. My phone buzzed with another message. Grace, they're freezing my accounts. I have nothing. Help me, please. I'm your sister. Before I could respond, another text came through from an unknown number, a video link. I clicked it and felt my breath catch. It was security footage from my father's office, dated the day before the gala. He was with my mother and Grace, planning everything. Planning how to use my work while pushing me aside, planning how to trap me if I ever fought back. Where did you get this? I texted back. I'm the security chief, came the reply. I've watched them abuse you for years. It's time everyone sees who they really are. I forwarded the video to Alan and Sarah, then typed back to Grace. You chose your side. Now live with it, Sarah returned, carrying fresh coffee. Ready to continue? Almost. I pulled out my phone one last time, dialing my mother's number. You ungrateful little, she started. Check your email, I cut in. That security footage of you planning everything? It's going live in 10 minutes. Last chance to tell the truth yourself. She went silent. Then, you destroy your own mother? You destroyed me first. The difference is, I'm rebuilding something better from the ashes. I hung up and faced Sarah. Now I'm ready. Let's talk about those offshore accounts. My phone lit up with notifications as Alan's article went live. My full confession about the Martinez grant, including proof of my father's manipulation. Minutes later, the security footage hit the internet. You know there's no going back, Sarah said softly. I thought of all the years spent being invisible, being used, being the good daughter who fixed everything while they took the credit. Good, I replied, pulling out my files. Because I'm done hiding in the shadows. Let's shed some light on everything. Sarah opened her notebook. Start from the beginning. So I did. And this time, I told the whole truth. The Senate committee will now hear testimony from Kimberly, former operations director of the foundation. Camera shutters clicked as I approached the microphone. Faces stared down at me from the elevated platform. Senators, journalists, and in the back row, Alan, nodding encouragingly. Please state your name and role for the record, the committee chair said. My name is Kimberly. Until last month, I was the invisible backbone of a corrupt organization that used charity as a cover for fraud. More cameras clicked. A senator leaned forward. Strong opening statement. Can you elaborate? For 15 years, I watched my family build their reputation on stolen money and broken promises. I helped them do it, believing I was protecting something worthwhile. I was wrong. The door at the back of the chamber opened. Grace slipped in, looking nothing like the polished princess she'd once been. Our eyes met briefly before she took a seat in the last row. We have evidence, another senator said, that suggests you were instrumental in exposing these crimes. Why wait so long? Because I was a coward, I replied. Because it's easier to be complicit than courageous. Until it isn't. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A news alert. My mother had been arrested trying to board a private jet to Switzerland. I ignored it and continued. The foundation claimed to help children. Instead, we helped ourselves. Every grant had strings. Every donation had kickbacks. My father built an empire on good intentions and dirty money. And your role in all this? I kept the machine running. I signed the papers. I buried the evidence until I couldn't live with myself anymore. A murmur ran through the crowd as an aide handed the chair a note. He read it, then looked up sharply. We've just received word that your mother has released a statement implicating several board members in additional schemes. Your response? My mother finally learned what I did. The truth is the best revenge. More cameras, more questions. I answered each one, laying bare 15 years of corruption. In the back, Grace sat perfectly still, tears running down her face. My phone buzzed again. Dominic. FBI found the rest of the offshore accounts. Your father's facing 20 years minimum. The questioning continued for hours. I gave them everything. Names, dates, documents. When they asked about the Martinez grant, I told them about my father's manipulation. When they asked about Grace's scandal, I told them about the systemic abuse of power. Finally, the chair spoke again. One last question. What happens to the foundation now? We burn it down, I said firmly. We burn it all down and build something honest from the ashes. Something that actually helps people instead of using them. As the session ended, Grace approached me. She looked small without her designer armor. They're selling the house, she said quietly. Mom's accounts are frozen. Dad's lawyers quit. It's all gone. Yes, I replied. It is. I hate you, she whispered, but I understand why you did it. No, you don't. Not yet, but someday you will. She turned to leave, then paused. Was any of it real? The good we thought we were doing? The need was real. The help wasn't. That's why it had to end. After she left, Alan approached. Hell of a performance. Not a performance, just the truth. The book deal offers are rolling in. Everyone wants your story. Let them wait, I said, gathering my things. I'm not done telling it yet. My phone buzzed one last time. Sarah from the FBI. Board members starting to flip. This goes higher than your family. We need you for one more round of testimony. I looked around the empty chamber, remembering all the galas, all the fake smiles, all the lies wrapped in charitable giving. Ready to go? Alan asked. Almost. I took one final photo of the Senate chamber, just documenting the moment when being invisible finally paid off. And now? Now we make sure everyone sees everything. No more shadows. No more secrets. That's going to make a hell of a final chapter, he said. I smiled. Who said anything about final? This is just the beginning. The new office still smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Lexi arranged files on her desk, now an executive assistant's desk, not a glorified servant's post, while I unpacked the last box in my consulting room. Another inquiry from the Thompson Foundation, she called out. They want help restructuring their ethics policies. Add them to the list, I replied, hanging my Senate testimony transcript on the wall. After what happened with us, every nonprofit in the city is terrified of their own shadows. My phone rang. Alan. Turn on NY1, your father's sentencing. I flicked on the TV mounted in the corner. There he stood, once powerful frame now diminished in prison orange. The judge's voice was clear and firm. 25 years for fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. Lexi appeared in my doorway. Your sister's outside. Grace entered before I could respond. She'd trade her designer clothes for simple business wear, her perfect makeup for a more natural look. Watching Dad's sentencing? She asked, gesturing at the TV. Watching justice. She nodded, then pulled out a folder. I have something for you. The last piece you never found. Inside was a document dated 15 years ago. My original promotion letter to director, signed and dated, then marked rescinded, in my father's handwriting. Where did you get this? Mom's safety deposit box. The FBI let me clean it out before they seized everything. She sat down. I knew back then, that they were going to give me your position. I knew, and I let it happen. Why are you showing me this now? Because I'm starting therapy. Real therapy, not the kind where they prescribe pills to keep you quiet. And my therapist says healing starts with truth. On the TV, my father was being led away. My mother's sentencing would be next week. The board members were falling like dominoes, each flipping on bigger fish. I have a job interview, Grace said quietly. Entry level, a real job, not a title bought with Daddy's money. I thought you should know. Why tell me? Because you were right about everything, and I need to say that out loud. My phone buzzed. Ellie, new foundation's paperwork approved. We can start accepting applications. I have to go. Grace stood. My interview's uptown. Grace, I called as she reached the door. Good luck. After she left, Lexi brought in coffee and the morning papers. Alan's book about the foundation scandal was still on the bestseller list. My mother's tear-filled confession had made headlines last week. The nonprofit world was transforming, transparency becoming the new currency. Mail came, Lexi said, handing me an envelope. Inside was an invitation to a charity gala, not the glittering fake kind I grew up with, but a real fundraiser for education reform. The RSVP form had a space for role requested. My pen hovered over the director box, then moved to write something else. Role. Watchdog. Lexi smiled. Perfect. My phone lit up with a text from Sarah at the FBI. Need your eyes on a new case. Similar pattern, different foundation. Interested? I thought about the scared whistleblowers out there, the invisible workers keeping notes, the truth tellers waiting for their moment. Send me the files, I typed back. Lexi cleared her throat. Your 10 o'clock is here. Another whistleblower. Send them in. A young woman entered, clutching a laptop like I used to. I recognized that look, the weight of secrets, the fear of speaking, the desperate need for someone to listen. Sit down, I said warmly. Tell me everything. She took a deep breath. I work for a foundation that... No, I interrupted gently. Start with your name. In this room, you're not invisible. She straightened her shoulders, finding her voice. My name is Rachel, and I have a story to tell. I smiled, remembering another woman, another office, another moment of choosing truth over silence. Then let's make sure everyone hears it.